Hello everyone and welcome to the latest episode of Book Time with Elvis with me, Mark, and welcome to another instalment of my week on BookTube. It is Sunday, it's very hot, got the fan on, so apologies if you can hear that, and in this instance our week on BookTube runs from Sunday the 24th of July through to Saturday the 30th of July. So let's start. Again, these are in no particular order, and of course there are other videos I watched and they were all excellent, but these are the ones I've particularly highlighted because I want to. It's my video. No, I just thought these are the ones I would highlight this week. So we start off with something not technically book-based or BookTube-based, although it is a type of book, and that comes from Very Literary Carrie, a good friend of mine, where she shows us her training journal and running log. She does a flip through of that. Now, as you can tell, I'm not somebody particularly disposed to running, but it's an interesting video, and it's interesting to see the records and data that she keeps on her running life. I mean, I did feel pretty exhausted, as if I'd run a marathon after watching it, just by the sheer amount of running she's done, but it is very interesting and worth checking out, even for non-runners like me. Next up, we have a video from Jason Harrigan, and very pleased to see that. He's taking part in August of Adventures, which is an event being run by myself and Sean D. Stanfast and co-hosted by Mark Richardson at Richardson Reads. And he gave us his TBR for that, which was really interesting. I suggest you check it out. The video is entitled Adventures in August, Sand, Snow, Sea and Swashbucklers. And he has some excellent books there, which I'm quite jealous of and would love to read as well. But I've certainly got enough on my plate this month, so yeah. And speaking of Sean D. Stanfast, I have two videos from him. One, he does an excellent top 10 of silent film. This coincides with another event we're running that's ongoing, which is Silent Moments, and he gives you a rundown of his top 10 silent films, which is very interesting indeed. And of course, it would be remiss for me not to mention his latest episode of Desert Island Books, which came out last Sunday, featuring Gareth from Books, Songs and Other Magic. Gareth has a very interesting selection there, and he's certainly very passionate about music, and that's definitely worth watching, as well as the fact he discusses his own event that he's running in August, which is Audible August, where people should read books to do with music. And I'm certainly going to take part in that. I think it's fascinating and it's a wonderful idea. So thank you, Gareth. Next up, we have Sterling Reads, formerly Cozy Reading with Quaker Cats and Summer, and she gave us her currently reading an August TBR, which is exactly what it says on the tin. She tells you what she's currently reading and gives you her TBR for August, but you know, summer's always very calming and relaxing to watch, and she's always got a lot on, so there's a wealth of books there for you to peruse. Next up, we have Anne with a Book, although this video should perhaps be the channel should perhaps be entitled Anne with a Dress, and you'll see why, because in this video, which she put up yesterday, although I've got a funny feeling, well, it was yesterday her time, but I have a funny feeling it was midnight, so it might have technically been Sunday my time, so I might have broken my own rules there a little bit, but anyway, it's worth checking out. It is her reading Jane Austen while sewing a Regency dress, and this was fascinating. It's really interesting to see somebody using their sewing skills to make something really quite nice and elegant, and Anne does it with great aplomb, and she also takes us through Jane Austen that she was reading / listening to at the time, so that's definitely worth checking out. So head over to Anne's channel to look at that. And next up, we have an old offering, and it's from 9 months ago, although it was recently reshared through the community posts by Vin at Revenant Reads, and this was his silent horror book recommendations. Again, owing to the fact that Sean D. Stanfast and I are doing Silent Moments, which is kind of an exploration of silent film, and in part their relationship to books, but not exclusively. it's worth checking out if it's something you're interested in, as Ving gives us a rundown of his recommendations for books to do with silent horror films. So that would be very interesting, including, of course, some very famous ones. Next up, we have the charming Aaron Facer. He does his July wrap-up and a massive pile of books for August, where, again, just like with Sterling Reads, it is what it says on the tin. He wraps up what he's been reading in July and shows the books that he's got to read in August. And I always like watching book hauls or TBRs because, well, actually I don't like watching them because I invariably end up having to spend money on purchasing books I haven't got. But no, I guess of course I do really like them. And Aaron, again, is somebody who is very pleasant to watch, very calming and very enjoyable. Not loud, not flashy, but I like his channel very much, and you should check it out. Another one, video that I found very interesting this week, came as a result of, I suppose, a bout of insomnia. Alan from Big Hard Books and Classics was unable to sleep, so he got up and made a video entitled The New Cambridge Ulysses Edition, and tore through my personally annotated Gabler Ulysses edition. And this was very interesting. I'm not somebody who's a huge fan of James Joyce. Sorry, Alan. I do certainly appreciate him, but I wouldn't call myself a fan. Certainly not a super fan in the vein that Alan is. But it was very interesting. It's very interesting to go through and look at people's annotated books, and I think it would be lovely if there was more of that on BookTube, where we could see what and how people have annotated different books. I found that really interesting. And he talks, of course, about the New Cambridge Ulysses edition, which I know Sean D. Stanfast has a copy of, and Alan certainly wants a copy of it, though I do appreciate his concern regarding the price of the thing. It is pretty pricey, and it's massive. It is really big. But as I say, given my own feeling on James Joyce, I necessarily wouldn't want something like that, but I certainly understand the appeal of it, and you should go and check out Alan's video. Next up, we have Bill Rutenberg and his Friday Reads video, which is great. I really like Bill, and it's kind of like visiting a really kind relative when you watch Bill's video sometimes, because he kind of, in this one especially, he's sitting back in his armchair. He hasn't got the books behind him because of various reasons, something to do with, I think, with his family were playing Legos or something, and he wasn't able to get to it. But the video was charming because, he gave you a rundown of his what's going on in his life at the moment, from his daughter's swimming lessons to various other things, and it was really nice. And then of course he goes through what he's been reading and what he's going to read, what he plans to read as well, coming up in the next month. So that was really nice, and although it's quite a long video, I certainly didn't notice it. And moving on from one Bill to another Bill, we go to Bill's Books, where he takes us through a book depository book haul that he got in July, and I was particularly drawn to it because I know he got a couple of books for August of Adventures, and I'm not going to say which ones, of course, because I think you should head over to his channel and watch his book haul. Bill is a very nice gentleman, and I think definitely worth your time to check him out. And from one very nice gentleman to a not so nice gentleman, or maybe a nice, but I don't know if I could say gentleman, and that's Steve Donoghue, where he puts up another response video, and this time fighting with BookTube friends, where he takes three booktubers, three from our corner of BookTube, well-known booktubers, to task for various things they've said this week, and it is of course as entertaining as you would expect. And to be fair, I'm not saying anything against the three booktubers he takes to task, but certainly that some of the points that Steve himself makes, whether he rightly or wrongly interpreted the three booktubers, the points he makes are quite valid on some of the things, so it's worth checking out. And Steve is always good fun for these kind of things as well. So, and speaking of Steve Donoghue, Apparently, has Steve read this? Although I thought it was has Steve read it, but it doesn't matter, I suppose. Season 3, so it's back, and it's been revived by KD Books. It's certainly something I've thought about for a long time. I did think of bringing it back myself at some point because I was so devastated by my score last year. However, KD Books proceeded to tag people in it, and now I feel it's not perhaps correct for me to do it without having been tagged. So I don't remember people being tagged in the last season. Perhaps they were, I don't know. But I don't know, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do it. It just seems perhaps it's good fun, certainly watching other people's, but I the amount of effort I'm going to have to spend trying to think of things probably isn't worth it. And especially as Steve and I are involved in a project starting tomorrow together, which I hope you're going to join us for. It's going to be a live read aloud of Anthony Trollope's The Warden, or not live, sorry, it's, obviously we're putting it on, but we're going to be on our channels reading it aloud to you. Basically I'm going to start, so my video will go up tomorrow, and you'll see Steve's video next. So I'm doing the odd chapters, he'll do the even chapters, and yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be good fun. I certainly had some positive responses regarding the read aloud I did for Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, which I finished yesterday, live, actually really live, initially to a fairly small audience when I think I did the original reading, but I then proceeded to do a live Q&A to celebrate the fact I reached 500 subscribers, which I'm completely humbled by. Yeah, I think we ran for, I don't know, 80 minutes, something like that, an hour and 20 minutes, and it was good fun. And I'm thinking perhaps it's something I might do more often, is a live, just to get some chatting with people, especially those who don't have their own channels. It's really nice to have that kind of interaction. So yeah, but anyway, going back to that, I do hope you will join us for this reading of The Warden. It means, of course, the odd numbered chapters will be on my channel, and the even numbered chapters will be on Steve's channel, and hopefully somehow they will be combined in a playlist for posterity. Excellent. So there are several things starting tomorrow. August of Adventure starts, which I of course recommend that you take part in. Our Misplaced Authors, that's again Sean D. Stanfast and myself, where we look at authors we've termed misplaced rather than forgotten, because they may be very well known for one particular piece of work, but their other back catalogue has been completely forgotten and is out of print, and perhaps they deserve being brought to the fore again. There's Audible August, again run by Gareth, Books, Songs and Other Magic, which again is fantastic. Of course there is Garb August, which seems you can't run away from these days. I'm going to try to at least read 1 or 2 books for that, as it is such a big event that's taking place. If you need any information on that, of course, you can head over to Criminology's channel, and you'll find a list of his co-hosts as well as the various prompts and things he's running for that. And then there's Faustathon, which I've kind of accidentally taken part in a little bit, because I am reading The Master and Margarita at the moment, with literally reading it at the moment. I had it here before I started recording, which I'm reading with one of my subscribers, and that fits in. There's other prompts and things, and it looks very interesting. If I hadn't had so much on, I would be very much determined to, but there are different things I could do, I suppose, that will allow me to take part that doesn't involve a huge amount of reading. So for example, I could watch the F.W. Murnau Faust silent film, which would count. I could listen to the opera Faust as well, and I think that means, like in spirit at least, I could take part in that. And then going back, of course, there is The Warden, read by myself and Steve Donoghue, and should you desire, I've left a link below from the Sudbury Dramatic Society, where they perform The Warden, in a bit of amateur dramatics, but it's fun. I mean, it is a bit like of course, a very low budget film at times, but you know, it is an amateur dramatic society, and they are doing it as a film rather than a theatre production. So it's not perfect, but it's fun, and you know, at the end of the day, the dialogue is important, and that's The Warden by Anthony Trollope, adapted by Pelham Elliott. So you could check that out if you want, either before or after you listen to the dulcet tones of Mr. Donoghue and myself reading that wonderful book to you. So there we have it. Thank you so much for watching. That is my week on BookTube, and we'll see you again soon. Do take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye for now.